Hey, good morning, everybody in Rogersville. Thanks for joining us on the Waffle once again.
Oh, good morning.
Yeah, I'm just eye candy today. That's all I'm here for. To be the eye candy.
We have a special guest.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself, special guest.
Hi, I'm Tatyana Osenniy. Happy to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. Thanks for joining us. And it was really, really nice. Oh, Victor's already on here.
Good job,
Yeah,
Victor.
Victor.
It was really nice. It was a flashback because Tatyana went to put her headset on and it kind of messed up her hair. And I'm like, oh, it's like Chris
like
is here.
Chris.
It's like Chris is here.
Chris is like on sabbatical. Someone who cares about their hair.
I'm glad I could fill the spot well.
Yeah.
You did good. Will acts like he doesn't care about his hair, but he literally gets a cut like
Every other week.
Every other week.
I'm going
Anybody
today.
who's seen Will and Will's hair knows Will cares about his
Will
hair.
cares about his hair.
I'm gonna tell Kix today. I want a summer cut. I'm gonna get
What's
the
the
summer
difference
cut.
gonna be?
Actually, I'm probably gonna have him trim most of my beard today.
Oh,
I think I'm gonna take it
holy
down.
moly.
I think I'm gonna take it down for the summer because it's getting kind of
That's funny.
Yeah, you gotta. That's a fall beard.
yeah.
It's a fall.
Obviously.
I think I'm gonna get a little summer trim today. We'll see how that works out and go from there.
And do little highlights.
Probably
Yep.
not. I got natural highlights going on already.
Yeah.
It's true. Very true.
I wanted Tatyana to be on the show today because she is one of these in tune to Rogersville people.
Yeah.
You know what's going on.
I got my finger on the pulse.
She's got a finger on the pulse. Introduce us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure.
And we'd love to hear about it.
So I am a mortgage loan officer, so I'm involved in all things mortgage. And then my husband and I also do new construction. So
Very good.
everything real estate, really. And it's been very interesting to watch what has happened in the real estate sector in the last couple of years.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's been kind of crazy. Everything from 2020 to now has gone from one upside down the other.
Yes, it has. It has. And I'm having one of those weeks in real estate where it is intense. Some real estate is a
Just for that, Barry, I'm
Basta.
keeping it. Keeping it just because Barry gave me some crap
Just
about
'cause Barry
it.
came.
Yep. Never mind.
It's been a wild week in real estate. Interest rates are rising, as you know, and I believe there's a little bit of panic buying going on.
Well, I feel like there was kind of panic buying in 2020.
I think so too. Yes,
And it hasn't stopped. I mean, we're well over 5% interest rate now.
Yes.
And people are still calling me, look, I thought they were 2. In 2020.
Turn on the news. Turn on the news already.
I mean, and they dropped quickly and they went back up quickly.
Yeah.
And right now we're sitting a little bit higher than where we were in 2018. So really, market-wise, rate-wise, it's not that crazy. It's
Well,
just how
and-
quickly they went back
And
up.
with
It was pretty
inflation,
shocking,
it's
yeah.
not going down.
no,
Yeah,
there's
it's
no
not
way.
going down.
There's no
So
way.
I mean, breaking news. I'll tell you all this morning. I know you guys have not heard this, but there is no house bubble. There is no housing bubble.
There's not.
There will not be a foreclosure wave. If you're one of those individuals that have been waiting for that, it's not going to happen in
Nope.
the housing market.
Yeah,
and I'm housing market.
Yep.
Whatever else can happen in the economy could happen in the
Well,
economy.
the 2008 housing bubble crash was caused by the legislation that was passed in the 90s where they forced the lenders to make a lot of sketchy loans to a lot of sketchy people.
Well, they just let people get loans.
Yeah.
for
They're like,
anything.
oh, you
Yeah.
have a plumbing business. You make $500,000 a year. Yes, you qualify for this mortgage. I don't need to see any tax records. And here, buy this $700,000.
Oh,
Well, there
everything-
was actually legislation from the federal government to Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae that were like, no, you have to make a certain percentage of loans to people that otherwise would not qualify.
Risky. Yep.
Yeah, and then that, and so, boom, your bubble, boom, they default and everybody else defaults, the whole thing crashes, and that's what happened. Government interference, again,
The government.
screws
But
public.
I mean, in the defense of the housing or in the lending industry, when it had the 2014 reform, it is very difficult to get a loan now.
It is. It is not easy.
It is not easy. Not only do we need your pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns, we also need verification from your employers. I mean, there's so many different levels and steps. And if you're a self-employed business individual, oh my gosh.
How many years as a self-employed individual do you have to have tax returns for?
Typically 2.
Yeah.
And let me
oh,
qualify.
that's it?
2 years of tax returns that show an income.
Yes.
That part's
Yes.
important.
Yeah, which is counterintuitive because if you're self-employed, your goal on your tax returns is to not show income.
See, I think the goal is to be successful in business and keep as much money as you can.
But not too successful.
Yeah.
And
then
Or
pay it
else
all
you're-
back in
or else
taxes.
you're penalized for being too successful.
It's a tricky situation. One of the joys of
situation.
self-employed.
Well, I haven't bought a house. I don't think I've ever bought a house.
It's fun. You should try it.
We built our house.
I mean, we can fix this
Yeah,
for
I
you.
know. I'm-
Easily.
Listen,
I'm up in the car.
I've already got my battlements in place where I'm at, and so we've built the fortress. We're not moving.
The fortress.
The
Yeah, I don't
fortress.
think Will's moving the fortress anytime soon.
Nope. We got cows and food and guns and ammo. And
Well, and Tatyana is also on city planning and zoning, right?
Yes. Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that, because again, that's something that a lot of people probably don't even know we have a planning and zoning board.
So-
in
well, they
town.
certainly are surprised when they find out.
We have a planning and zoning commission. I've been on it, I think for almost 4 years or greater 4 years.
Whoa, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And really, what we're just a appointed commission, and our job is to help the city as we grow, plan, and develop. What's the goal? What's the vision? How do we get there? And what can we codify?
Yep.
So we have a vision, right? Here's our vision. Here's our plan. We do have a plan in place. And then we make those recommendations. So the city takes those ideas and codifies them and makes those into things that people actually have to do and follow as we grow and develop.
The code is the rules of the town. Is that a good way to put it, Will?
Sure, ordinances.
Ordinances, the rules and ordinances, things that we're supposed to follow. And we
then
do have rules.
And then the ordinances say we're going to follow these building codes and such things. So yeah.
And so that part's been very interesting to watch. So when I first started, Rogersville was not experiencing a growth boom. So any talk or any ideas about master planning, it was kind of like, in the future this will happen.
Yes.
Sometime in the faraway future. And now it's like it's happening right now. So what we're talking about, what we're implementing, it's now applicable. Like somebody's going to run into this, and it's been really cool to see how we've grown and developed. And what used to take 5 years now takes 2. What used to take 2 years now takes 1 in the sense of speed.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's an interesting point. That is a really, because our population growth, I think we had one of the higher percentages.
Well,
in
you
the
talk to Dr.
census.
Randall's and he'll tell you the schools are blowing
The
up
schools got full. Yeah.
around here real fast. So it's a good thing that we got that bond thing passed. It's going to be a big help going forward.
Huge.
But I think on the planning part, the interesting thing is right now I hear people talking is, all the residential, which obviously we need, but the balance, because if we don't put in any commercial, then we're just providing all the services for people to spend their money in Springfield, and that's a real financial burden on a community.
Because the new houses stress your infrastructure.
Yeah, you've got to have police, you got to have fire, you got to have utilities, you got to have all of that stuff for all of the people living here. But if they're not spending their money here, then you don't have the tax revenue to pay for those services, and you have a problem.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So it's important that we protect the commercial that we've got so that people are encouraged to build commercial here. Because if the people are here, there's a reason to have commercial. And I think the people have to show up before the commercial. We get that.
Sure.
But shoot, the people are here. It's time to build some
I think
strip
we've
malls.
hit a yeah.
Something.
I think we've hit a layer. And I had an interesting conversation. I actually met the owner, one of the owners of Rocco's Pizza yesterday at a closing. And he, of course, said that they had the food truck here because he looked familiar. And him and I had a great conversation. And they still own the one in Ozark. And it just kind of became one of those things. And this isn't a dig at the city at all. It's a dig at commercial development because it's difficult, right? It is. It's extremely hard. You think if anybody's ever built a house, one, you're lucky if your marriage survives it.
I've built several. Victor and I are still married.
We love each other
So much. We're building master separate bedrooms. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Because it's a difficult process, and now we have material delays, and we have backed up contractors and raising costs, and it's become a little bit more stressful. Commercial takes that to a new level of insanity.
Well, it does, and especially when you have those ordinances, you have the codification. But one thing that doesn't make it easy, and I think you guys have had some interesting moments with this, is there's also all of these old layers of development that weren't done right.
Yes, and that's just a fact. Yeah,
just, like ghost streets just in the middle of a house, and
It's a process to fix those things.
It is. And it took me a little bit to kind of get it, because I felt like anytime we excavated in Rogersville to build, we were like, oh,
surprise. Yeah.
What will we find today? But
and it's not anything like crazy, like poltergeist stuff, from the movie.
Joe Thomas hiding skeletons whenever he remodels something.
He does do that, turns out.
no.
Vicky, yes. I don't know, but our new update, I don't know if it's on the sign yet, because the 2020 census would have updated all that.
The population, I think is it 3,800 now?
1 million? I don't know.
Well, the 2020 census was also delayed, and it wasn't super important because everybody was worried about flattening the curve.
Yeah.
So
the curve. Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know how accurate those figures are.
I don't think they're accurate. I really don't. I get a feeling that the census numbers were not accurate. Mm-hmm. And we've got
check out this Joe on the radio. He's a DJ in Springfield. So some of your brother sister agents there.
Oh yeah, Brian and Karen White. They're so nice. Aw.
Yeah. Thanks,
Brian
Joe.
and Karen White are also Reese Nichols agents. I think I saw Brian in the Reese Nichols parking lot yesterday. I was blazing through the office. It was one of those days where I was literally all over. I saw them blazing through the office.
That is a great description of every real estate agent I know right now.
They just walk quickly everywhere they go until they collapse. Check on your realtor friends currently.
Give them a hug.
We had a satellite law firm out here like in 04, 05, and 06, and we eventually just closed it and stayed in Springfield because we just got no walk-in traffic or anything out here.
Yeah.
And everybody, we'd have people from Roger, they'd come see me in Springfield. They didn't care. But, now I've moved out here. This is my office is in Rogersville, and it's pretty decent.
I think there's more walk-in traffic at the Rogersville Reese Nichols office than there is at the Springfield Reese Nichols office on South Campbell.
Well, you also sometimes have food there.
I was going to say, there's pretty good food.
I'm like, come and have coffee and food.
That helps. But
you can sit and talk to me.
I think Rogersville is such a unique area where
I do too.
We love and appreciate our heritage and our culture. But like Will said, that balance of as we grow, we need a little bit of commercial. We need a little bit of, R3 and apartments. We need 55 plus. We need all of these things, not just one of these things.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people were upset with certain developments that came in, but look at the need now.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what's happened.
Absolutely.
And it is. And, when Woodland Hills started being built, I was like, are these going to sell at these prices?
Boom.
And they did.
Gone.
They're gone. And then, when the apartments were built, they're like, oh, are these going to rent at these prices? Boom. Yep. They're full and they're building more. Yep. So, it's a tipping point in time, I think. I think it is everywhere, though.
It is.
Not just Rogersville.
For us, since we're kind of an insulated community.
Yeah, I feel like we are.
We look at it from our perspective, but if you have that broader view, it's happening everywhere.
Yep.
I think Ohio was like crazy high skyrocket housing market prices. Like their housing is through the roof.
Really?
And you're like, Ohio? What's in Ohio? Yeah. Or Idaho. It's just.
Well, in Idaho, everybody's moving to Idaho from Washington. Getting out of Washington State, moving to Idaho.
There's an exodus from Washington State. That's
Washington, Oregon, California. Yeah. And I've talked to several clients who are moving out here to, the Springfield, Ozark, Nixa, Rogersville area. And they're the rural community.
Yep.
And one client told me, they're like, listen, we're the rural community, we're conservative, but we always get outvoted on everything, and we're just being squashed out. So we got to get out of here.
Yep.
And I know I've heard the saying, if you're moving from California, keep your voting practices.
Yeah, I say
yourself.
that on a regular basis.
Yeah, he does. He's got a whole billboard situation lined up.
But if you look at the individuals who are moving here, just have that conversation of why are you moving here?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they've all been great. Everybody I've met that's moved in from somewhere, you might kind of look askance at them at first. And I always encourage them to register their car in Missouri as soon as possible to get a Missouri license plate, because those California plates don't do well around here.
Oh yeah, I've had a California client say they could not get rid of their plate quick enough because they had issue. Yep. Yeah. I really have heard people say that.
Yep.
And it is. It's we've created a great place to live here, right? And us, I guess, people from here,
Hillbillies.
Yep. The OG hillbillies.
Literally I was just gonna say the OG. Okay, I'm like thinking here.
OGOs, the original gangster Ozarkians. We've known that for a long time, and to me, it's no surprise that people have got it figured out.
Yep.
I think what's a surprise to many is how much people are willing to pay for it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Yes, I really do, because I think, I've said this on the show before, I feel really bad for our first-time home buyers, and not just first-time home buyers, but the buyers here, because the one secret here was always, you can buy your first home at 21 years old. If you're working your first job, you can buy your first home and it'll be nice. And then you can buy your second home and your third home, and you're going to have a great life of home ownership. And now that has gotten a little bit more complicated.
So here's what I've been hearing recently, and I wanted to ask you all if you think it's accurate in this area. One of the things I've heard is that the reason home prices, there's a shortage and the home prices are up, is because of investment. It's because you've got BlackRock and large corporations going and buying up all of the single family housing in areas and then renting them at really high prices. No.
Have you heard of a specific example of this? I've not heard of known a specific example.
Yes and no. I think it contributes to one aspect of the high prices because it's taking the inventory off the market. Sure. But it's taking inventory it's not first time home ownership. These are what's the Woodland Hills price point?
Oh, over 200,000. Yeah, 220, 250 I think now.
But that is a starter house now.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people think that way?
Sure.
Most people think of starter house as $100,000.
Yeah.
Well, those don't exist
for
anymore.
years. They thought of it as that.
Yeah. And so when you're looking at the supply aspect of it, yes, those homes are being absorbed by corporations and they're not hitting the market. But at the same time, how many people do you have who aren't qualified to buy those houses but still need a place to live?
Yep.
Well, but if I guess my point is, if the investment community is buying all of the starter houses, regardless of the price point, and if they're the ones paying $200,000 for it, isn't that contributing to the issue?
Well, I mean, it's a factor in it. It's a fact. It's one of the many factors that have done the supply. Well, and another interesting thing I just saw. Taney County stopped issuing permits on new Airbnbs. So if it's an existing Airbnb, you're fine. But Taney County is not on R1. So on residential single family homes, Taney County has said, and that is a direct result of people not being able to buy those first time homes or second homes, whatever. But they don't want to issue any more permits on R1.
Well, and the other issue, I guess, that I've heard is that your companies that used to go out and plat the subdivision and build it and sell the houses now go out, plat the subdivision and rent the houses. They don't even sell them.
That's happening.
They build them to rent from the beginning.
Rentals. Yep.
And when you say that's a contributing factor, the point of the higher home values is supply and demand. You have so much demand, you have very little supply. And then you have a company that comes in and takes the supply. So yes, it does contribute. I don't think locally we're seeing that on the mass scale. Do we have that happening? Yes. But we also have a very robust housing development happening right now where we've got several subdivisions and only one small part of those are being absorbed into those kind of scenarios.
Yep.
So there's still houses being built that can be purchased. But I don't see the value slowing down and increase until we really saturate the market with new construction. And I think that's where the next level of relief will come, is either some legislation or some grants or government funding for builders to build.
No government intervention.
Will's like, don't do it.
Stay out of it. Let the market control it.
It's complicated.
How much of this is directly the fault of Chip and Joanna Gaines?
Shiplap is 100% the fault of Target.
All I have to say is Target.
I just think, people get out there, and I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of people or couples have watched those TV shows and gone, oh, I can do that. And it affects the market, I'm sure, because they're buying houses. Perhaps it benefits the market because they're rehabbing houses. But I bet, 10, 20% of those people have went through bankruptcy at this point too, because that's not an easy thing to do.
No, those big rehabs are not easy. And I mean, you always run across we got a big comment. We always run across problems that it's hard to stay in your budget on those. I'm hearing of projects right now, new builds and flips and stuff that are $50,000 over budget, $100,000 over budget. Yeah, and this isn't because the person decided to put in like marble tile versus a different product. This is just to get it built. Okay, let's see.
Okay, Joe, it's a big one. I often worry about our lower income friends and their neighbors slowly being pushed out of the city. Absolutely. Scarcity of housing paired with quickly rising rents and home prices seem like a recipe for disaster.
Yep.
Furthermore, can a person employed in Rogersville even afford to live here anymore? Well, went away before I get rid. Really use better paying jobs. How do we track those? Well, that's commercial. That's industrial.
That's commercial and industrial. And I mean, really, that's industrial is what that is for Rogersville.
Yep.
Because this isn't just a Rogersville crisis. My prediction as a realtor, and I don't often make predictions because they're usually wrong, is our next big crisis in this area is going to be a rental crisis. And I mean those people on fixed incomes who cannot find a place to live. They end up moving in with maybe family members or maybe somebody that's not a family member that maybe people shouldn't be around. You know what I mean?
Renting out rooms and such.
Renting out rooms and really filling these properties, because how on earth could I have paid when I fresh out of college, paid $1,000, $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 a month rent?
Yeah.
I drove by my old apartment in Springfield the other day, and I think we paid $575 or $525 for a 1-bedroom apartment that was nice and a good spot. And I really liked living there. And I'm like, I wonder how much that apartment is now.
You should go check it out. It's probably
I should
a
call
lot more.
and find out.
But to comment on that question, I think what we will start seeing, and it might be an unpopular opinion, but we're going to start seeing government subsidized housing.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, and great, we've solved the problem here, but on the other flip side is we're going to have government subsidized housing more and more and more. And we have to figure out where is it going? Where should it be developed? What's the best use of the land we have now that can convert to that? Looking at traffic patterns, looking at the commercial we have now with people who can walk to and from certain services or to and from work. All of that is that big picture. Like as we grow, it's not just, we have this one problem, let's focus here. No, this one problem is a combination of everything that's happening.
Oh, yeah.
And we definitely need to grow in our commercial development, our industrial development. And that takes all of us. Like anytime there's anything that's floated out, potentially of what's happening or what's coming, it's met with a flurry of commentary.
Mm-hmm.
This is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. Look just a little bit beyond that. That could be a job for your friend that needs it because now they can afford housing or now they can afford rent. And just having a wider kind of view as we continue to grow.
Well, on the wages issue, I live east of town, out near Fordland, and so I drive by the undercover plant every day, and they've got a big trailer that sits out there, and I've watched it over the last 3 years. Now hiring $13.50 an hour. They were up to $17-$18 an hour that they're paying starting at undercover. So they're out there begging for people to work. So it's been a long time since I've worked for $17-$18 an hour, so I don't really know what that means. I don't know if that's a good wage or not. It sounds like it. I used to work for $3.35 an hour back in the day. I mean, I know
it's way higher than what I had capped out, as a retail manager for years at a job, and that was, after the bust. And I've talked to a builder recently who would really love to build more affordable, smaller homes, but they're trying to pencil. I mean, currently our code doesn't really allow you to do that because of the size of the lot, right? I don't think people understand. It's about $40,000 in lot costs to develop a lot. Is that about right?
If you are in residential zoning, it is 10,000 square foot minimum,
which is about it's over a quarter. Just under a quarter acre. It's like 0.21, 0.22, something like that, acre lot. So you have to have a big yard. That's a pretty big yard. It's a nice yard. And it's your development cost in a lot that size is huge. You used to be able to buy lots cheap for like $10,000, $5,000, $15,000,
$5,000. Lots in Leabrook when we first moved to Rogersville were priced at like $5,000.
Yeah,
and nobody was buying them because there's no need.
Yeah, my mom was like, "You guys should buy some of those lots." I was like, "Nah, I don't know. Should have."
Always
Thanks,
listen
Mom.
to Mom.
She'll listen to Mom.
Yeah. There you go.
But so you've got, let's say you've got $40,000, and this is developing a subdivision, like where you got to add utilities, roads, curbs, all that stuff. So you've got $40,000 per lot in costs to develop it. And then about the cheapest I'm hearing of anybody build right now is $100 a square foot.
That's probably doesn't.
That's the cheapest. That's like,
I mean, that is
yeah,
cheap,
if
that's possible.
I don't even know if it may not even be possible. That would be like somebody, doing it themselves, subbing it with, anyway, it would be difficult to get that done.
So it's a 3-year process to get it built at that rate. And
Well, basically, I mean, once you develop the lot and once you get the materials to get it done, I mean, you can build a house in 4 to 6 months if everything goes perfectly.
well,
It's a big if.
If everybody shows up when they say they're going to show
And
up
it doesn't rain,
completes
it
it
never
when they
freezes.
if every condition is perfect, which we know that's never the case
Never
with
the
people
case.
in Missouri. So,
You know what we need to do? We need to show our commercial today. We got so
we gotta
into
show our
this.
commercial. I'm
we're
wearing my
just-
shirt
yeah,
too.
your shirt. It's
Emma's
Emma's
our
Day.
sponsor for.
Yeah. So and
Let's
take a break from serious talk.
Let's show a commercial.
Hey everybody, Tufts Garden Outpost is in full swing for spring 2022. Take a look and see what kind of fun things we have going on this season.
Soundstripe.
I'm Emma and I cannot wait to be your local farmer this spring.
Thanks, Emma.
We
Appreciate
love our
you.
Emma.
Yeah, being
I got a
so-
couple of plants there the other day. I believe she's getting a big shipment this week, so you're going to see a lot more stuff at Tufts Greenhouse. I got
Okay,
two plants.
call off the sheriff. Beth's here. We don't have to send
Beth,
anybody.
we were sending the search party. I had a helicopter en route.
Yeah, we'll call it. We'll call him back. We know Beth's okay. She's back on the show, so that's good.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, I think what's really cool. I mentioned this the other day to my wife. I said I think those gift certificates are a really great idea for Mother's Day coming up.
Yes.
So I think that's what we're probably gonna do that.
I dropped the hint to my family yesterday. I was like, you guys need to start thinking about what you're going to do for Mother's Day because I'm not doing anything.
I read a statistic that crime drops significantly on Mother's Day.
Oh,
And then this is one kid's interpretation. They're like, man, I guess most of those criminals are moms who take a day off.
Boom.
mom.
There it is.
The mom crime
Wow.
element. It's a vast network of criminals.
I mean, who can network better than a mom?
That's
right?
true. That's
I
a good
mean,
point.
I don't know.
I think you're onto something there.
Oh, that's hilarious.
PTA is just a cover.
Oh, speaking of PTA, speaking of that, I'm in PTA.
You just went from sketchy mom to PTA.
Sketchy mom PTA.
Okay,
I am
staying
here.
out of
I'm a
this.
sketchy
That's
PTA
why we
mom.
call it the waffle.
No, we have our LR PTA first family picnic on Saturday. It's going to be in the lawn in front of the middle school pending rain. We're going to see what our options are there, but if it does rain. And so free face painting, free cotton candy, free games, and bring your family, bring your lawn chair, and $5 is a lunch, and that will come from Subway, little Subway sandwich, chips, and drinks. So PTA family picnic on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
And the Larry Martin Community Gardens having weekday evening work days in the garden today at 4 p.m. So if you're looking for something to do,
Yeah. See, events are starting to
At the garden.
happening. We're coming out of the mud season. We're still deeply in mud
yeah,
season.
it's still muddy.
But
I did get my yard mowed
good.
the other day. I was
Jesse's
pretty happy about
like-
that.
Jesse has so much to mow because of the lots that we have by our house that he's just like, I've got 1 hour to mow. I've got to get this done.
Well,
Pour
I've had
nitrous
to-
in the in the mower.
I'm looking at like the forecast. I'm like, when can I fit this mow time? And it's very limited. We're
It
still
is.
in mud season, and I don't want to sink my mower.
Well, and
No.
I'm trying to get this U garden built, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
And so it because you've got to have it mowed and it's got to be dry to mow and it has to stay dry so you can get out there and build this thing. And so I got the yard mowed and then it rained. And so I still haven't been,
It's like
I know.
deny- yeah.
Well, it's too late to plant anything then. So I'm trying to get it in before May's over. So
you
we
got
can,
a garden crisis.
it's a garden situation going on.
Garden situation crisis.
But anyway, did you find anybody, a landscaper for me yet?
Oh crap! I forgot
Okay,
to ask
that's
you
all right.
about that.
I'll figure it
Those
out.
are the hardest people.
They're hard.
Well, I have
get
a
the job.
water
he needs a
remediation
water
situation.
remediation situation. So a
Just
little
dig
advanced.
a hole and call it a pond.
Yeah, well, that's ultimately probably that's my plan. But it's got to be in the right place, and the land's got to all be shaped to get the water there, and not in my walk-in.
Yep. Well, and I battle this at my house too. It's just like, okay, we got to figure out. Well, and these are things you notice in the spring, and then when it dries out all summer long, you don't really tend to notice it again.
No, I'm all up for a pond and some ducks and the whole shebang. We just got to. I need
Just
some.
got to get some money. I'm
Koi
gonna
fish
ask
in
JR because
right.
that's an advanced landscaping situation.
It's hardscaping.
That's
I mean,
yes,
that's
it
what
is.
it's called.
Yeah.
They'll build retaining walls. They'll redirect the hardscaping.
Hardscaping. Well, there you go. I learned something.
Plethora of information from
Vicky's
Tatyana.
having the same problem. Tractor can't get in to fill the raised beds. Yep.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of new construction in Rogersville that we hadn't had a chance to do the backfill on. 'Cause
Yeah.
the trucks would sink.
Yep.
It would not be
Oh,
a
and
good
somebody the other
situation.
day needed a septic pumped, and they're like, "Can I come in June? Because I can't get my truck."
We may have a bigger problem come June.
That relates to my story I told last week.
Oh yeah.
I actually drove by the site of the of that
The
situation
incident?
of the incident.
Oh, is that Nixa?
Oh, this was in Springfield.
Oh, I heard there was a stinky situation in Nixa.
Oh, there's always stinky situations
Yep. All around. But-
all around.
all right. Anything else going on this week coming up? We got the
We've got PTA
yard party.
on Saturday. We have a work day at the Larry Martin Community Garden. Tatyana, do you know anything coming up? I don't know.
We do not.
Visit the Tough Outpost.
Visit Tough
while still
Outpost.
there. Buy something for Mama for Mother's Day.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your time on the waffle today? Was it fun?
I enjoyed it very much.
Good.
And for all those listeners out there, if you guys want to join Planning and Zoning, it's the second and fourth week of the month.
There you go.
Which today's
Bring-
meeting was canceled, so
bring
no
popcorn.
meeting today. Kettle corn is good too.
Yeah, you guys should we should get a popcorn machine for City Hall, and just
I bought a popcorn machine one time for the concession stand.
that would be. We'll see. We
That
probably
one
already
time,
have one.
I bought a popcorn machine.
I was like, I'll buy it. I did.
I think it's a good idea. I like it. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us in the Waffle. We'll be back next week with another surprise guest. Surprise guest next week. Thanks
Dun,
for
dun,
watching.
dun.